Hey, so Ed Davey from the Lib Dems urges talk with the EU on UK EU customs union. He was on Sky News today, so let's have a look and see what he's saying.
Awful lot to talk about when it comes to politics, the EU, back on the agenda now, whether or not we should rejoin, if there should be a customs union.
We
Someone
should
with a view on
rejoin.
all of this is the Lib Dem leader, Sir Ed Davey, who joins us now. Thank you very much for being with us.
Good morning.
So you're forcing a vote today about joining a customs union with the EU. That's right, isn't it? What's the idea?
Well, I think Keir Starmer has really had these red lines and stopped us building our relationship back with Europe. And I think it's crucial that we do build our relationship back with Europe for our economy, for our defence. And Liberal Democrats have been pushing that for some time. And given how things have changed since the general election, with the election of President Trump, with the war in Iran, with the trade tariffs on our businesses, I think we do need to act far more urgently than the government's been doing. And in many ways, this is also a challenge not just to Keir Starmer, but to potential new leaders of the Labour Party. Are they going to persuade Labour MPs to come and back our amendment so we can start building that relationship back?
Well, I mean, talk about new leaders of the party. Wes Streeting, who I know, the odds on Wes Streeting's been falling, but he's part of the debate around the direction of the party. He wants you to go much, much further. He wants the UK to rejoin the EU.
Well, he says in the long term, we're in favour of joining the EU again. We always have been. But we're not going to peddle nonsenses that the extremists paint. We've got to talk about what Europe would accept, and rebuilding the trust and the relationship with Europe is critical. And in our discussions, the customs union would be a really good step of that. And it'd be interesting to see if Wes Streeting votes for our amendment tonight. Is he going to put his money where his mouth is? And we'll be watching Wes Streeting and others. Are they going to actually go where they're saying they want to go and support us?
I mean, other people say, look, there are issues with the customs union. You wouldn't be able to strike independent trade deals, for example. We'd have to follow EU rules that we have no say in making. It's imperfect.
Well, if you look at the trade deals that have been done since we left the EU, they've been really quite pathetic, to be honest. And the deal we would get if we had a new UK-EU customs union would be far more beneficial to our businesses, to growth, to trade. It would help us deal with the cost of living
Depending on the
crisis.
strings that the EU put in, though, obviously.
No, well,
right?
it would have a negotiation, right? Have a negotiation. But others have done this, and they've done really well as a result. And I think it's in the interest of every single person in our country, every family, every business, so we can deal with the cost of living and we can start turning around our economy.
Talking about the cost of living, the government today has announced that some sanctions on Russia are being eased. So we will now allow diesel and jet oil made from Russian crude oil to be used in the UK if it's refined in other countries. Is that a price worth paying to bring down the cost of living?
Well, we're going to look at the detail. Clearly, the government has a real challenge here because this appalling war in Iran, supported by the Conservatives and Reform, is pushing up the cost of living, is pushing up diesel and petrol prices. But we've also got to remember that we need to support our Ukrainian allies. They are fighting and paying a heavy, heavy price to beat that appalling Russian invasion. They're on the front line of our defence and security. And the question is, has the government got that trade-off right? And
So
it's not clear.
what do you think, then? What do you think?
Well, we're going to look at what they're proposing and the detail of
But
it.
you must have a bit of a, because look, I know the details obviously are very important as well, but the principle is you either say, actually, cost of living is a priority, even if it means accepting some Russian oil and gas, or you say, actually, it's completely wrong because Putin is invading Ukraine and killing lots of people there.
Well, first of all, we really have taken the lead on dealing with cost of living. We put forward a package.
But what do you think on this?
You asked about cost of living. We have a package which we've been pushing for some time now to cut the price of diesel and petrol at the pumps, which will really, really help families and businesses. We will look at this proposal. It's complicated, Sophie, because they've got some proposals where they're
100%.
tightening the sanctions at the same time. So it's a package, and it only came out late last night. We will look at it. We're really, really worried if there's any undermining of our support for Ukraine.
I'm interested in this because you're saying that this is a complex issue, it's nuanced, you want to look at the details. It feels like that answer almost embodies why you are speaking a different language to lots of other politicians at the minute, right? Who are talking in black and white. You mentioned extremes there. Things are either, obviously the right thing to do, or they are completely terrible and you are an idiot if you believe it. And I think lots of people will be like, actually, a bit of nuance is a good thing. But is there a risk that you're being drowned out by the conversation? You're kind of falling down the crack in the middle of the road.
Well, I don't think so. I think we had great results at the local elections. Not everywhere, but in Scotland we had our best result for nearly 20 years. We made more gains than I'd expected at local elections. We took controls of councils, like West Surrey and East Surrey, run by the Tories for decades. Liberal Democrats are now running them, and I could take you around the country to Portsmouth, to Stockport, where we took controls of councils where Reform were really campaigning. So we did have some really, really impressive results, and if you look to the next general election, I think we're going to make gains on top of our best result for 100 years. But I'm proud of the fact that we recognise that things are more complicated than the extremes would have you believe. The extreme populist politicians, you know, the Reform and the Greens, are trying to sell people either a dream which cannot be delivered, or something that's very divisive.
Extreme.
They want to sort of burn the system down in response to people's anger. We want to build it up. And sometimes building it up is a bit more complicated. But our programme of building our economy out and dealing with the cost of living through a closer relationship with Europe, our proposals to sort out our NHS crisis through looking at care, our proposals to reform the political system by embracing electoral reform, these are really quite transformational changes, and they could actually be delivered unlike what other parties are saying.
There are some in your party who are running out of patience a bit. I did note the comments of David King, the Lib Dem leader of Colchester City Council, under pressure, of course, at the local elections. We need to let the party take the time to look to the future, and that's my appeal to Sir Ed. It's politely saying, time's up.
Well, listen, there were some councillors who obviously had worked really, really hard, served their community really well, and had a disappointing evening, and I get that, and I pay tribute to them for their hard work and understand how difficult it is. And he's not the only one who had a tough night, but many people did actually think we're heading in the right direction, that we're making gains year on year. It was our 8th year of gains. That's never happened before. That's a record for the party. And as I take it into the next election, we're really excited. We see a huge opportunity because I think politics is being polarised. We are seeing these extremist parties, and I think when they get scrutinised properly, people will realise that they can't deliver what they are promising, and actually what they're promising in some ways is dividing our country when we need to bring it together. We do have practical policies which will make big changes to people's lives on the cost of living and on
I agree with
health
that,
service.
OK, thank you very much indeed. Good to have you on the programme.
I agree with that, but to say Greens are extreme, no. Reform's extreme, yeah, but to say the Greens are extreme, no. But yeah, no, we'll see anyway what happens in that. We'll have a look, and obviously there's going to be a lot more talk about this with the EU and stuff like that, so yeah, we'll see what happens next time. But yeah, if you enjoyed the video, hit that like and subscribe, and until next time, take care. Bye bye.